welcome on a Tuesday night to Loud and Nerdy. My name is JW Colwell. I am joined with my cohorts in crime, the guys that cause trouble and have fun. We have fun every week. Wait, this has got to be fixed. There we go.
It's throwing you off?
It was throwing me off. I don't know why it was like that, but it got to be fixed. My name is JW Colwell. I'm joined by Kyle Defina to my left. I don't know. And Jerry Kamora is on the bottom here. Just getting together for your pop culture fix for the week. Lots of news.
Of course, we got JW, the movie guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You need your introduction too. You can't just introduce us.
No, you guys
are the movie guy.
Well, Jerry's a movie guy too. Jerry's got a full basement full of movies. But I do want to lots of stuff to watch. Right? I mean, we are in this week was so many things dropped on streaming. Movies are rearing back. You may have heard this movie opened this past weekend. Tiny. Only $155 million for an opening weekend. I think it's one of the it's a good movie. It's charming and heartwarming and fun, and 155.
Perfectly explains having a teenage daughter.
It perfectly explains having a teenage daughter, and I'm going to take this from one of my friends who I was talking to about it. It 1 and 2 together are possibly the best Pixar movie ever made. If you ran them together and made a 3-hour movie about being in a kid's head. It would be their Titanic. It'd be their Oppenheimer. You know what I mean?
It rivals Toy Story 1 and 2. It does.
It really does. Nobody brings up Toy Story 3 because it's like Toy Story 3. There's some serious shit going on in Toy Story 3. But Inside Out is I do like
only
that.
2 Christopher Reeve Supermans.
Only 2. Yeah, I don't count the other ones. 3 is terrible. Anyway, 3 is terrible and 4 is worse.
I have the poster.
So any filmmakers out there, just go right from 2 to 4. Just skip over 3.
No, because 4 is bad too. Superman 4: The Quest for Peace is even worse.
4 was the worst.
Toy Story 4?
4 is the worst. 3 is second worst. And
Cars
then
2 was the worst, though.
Here's something that came up. Somebody, I think there was an internet thing going around. Is Man of Steel the best Superman movie? No, not even close. Superman 1 and 2 together are
anyone under the age of 25,
But it's not.
Maybe it's their best Superman movie, but best.
But I'll give you an example. I'm going to go into the Gun movie next summer, expecting to love it, right? I'm going to go in expecting to love it. You're right. Probably
yes, Ken, exactly.
What?
It's the best.
Oh, God damn it. Good evening, Joe. Good evening, friends. Toy Story 3, where little Timmy opens his mom's drawer and finds mom toys, Buzz and Woody. God, Ken. Don't make it filthy early. We're early.
And there goes our PG rating for the night, folks.
That's what I'm saying. Woody and Buzz. But I think, when you look at Pixar, what Pixar's been through in the last year and 2 years. Turning Red, Soul Turning Red, Luca, Elemental, all being released. Elemental is the first one that came out in theaters, but at that point, audiences were trained to watch Pixar at home. And now, Inside Out 2 has fixed all those problems.
They needed something.
And the theaters needed something. We were there on Saturday afternoon, and I don't remember it being I couldn't remember in the last 6 months it being as busy and as hectic and as crazy, and just we had somebody in our group lost a wallet, so I had to go back into the theater and search under seats. And there was waves of people going in and out of theaters, and it was really funny. I was watching The AMC staff is really nice. They're nice people. I see them every week, and they were.
You see them 5 times a week.
I see them 3 or 4 times a week. But they were struggling. It
They're
was
like
like
Norm walking in the Cheers.
what?
Oh, you have to work
Hey,
now.
Norm. But yeah, but they were struggling.
Instead of a
Like,
beer, they walk out with a
do
bucket
you
of
know how
popcorn.
do you know like sometimes like when you're playing
And
a
the
game or
collector's tin for that week.
do you know like sometimes they were struggling. Like there were people everywhere. There was shit ever like, I was saying this last night in Generation Movie. When big movies hit, we're gonna have like 3 or 4 this summer. That this Despicable Me 4 and Deadpool and Wolverine. We're gonna talk about that more in a moment. When these movies hit, though, how about just being fucking nice to the people working in the theater? Pick up your shit after the movie ends.
Good luck with that.
Well, but don't you? Like I do.
I agree, but good luck with that.
I think,
I just got done with a cruise. Some things don't change.
Well,
I saw Inside Out 2 at the drive-in at the Circle, and number one, it was packed on the main screen, which was great to see. They had to start almost 50 minutes late because they just couldn't get anyone away from the concession stand to actually go hit the play button on either movie, because it was Inside Out 2 and Bad Boys on the other screen. And it was just...
That's good.
It was great just seeing it. Like, yeah, it's what you want to see.
That's what you want to see. And like I said, like I was talking to the MC staff, and I was like, you get your swing and motion back and be able to handle like this rush after rush, because it was like they were getting bombarded because it was on like seven screens. So it was just like every 5 minutes there was a new Inside Out showing, and it was just wave after wave. And I was like, but just be nice, pick up your garbage, be nice.
Oh, that was the other thing. One of the ads at the drive-in now, before the movie starts, is please pick up around your car when you're done. If you need, come inside and ask for a trash bag. We'll gladly give you one.
Oh, that's great. Isn't that general courtesy? Shouldn't we? Like, I'm not saying pick up all the popcorn kernels off the ground. That's hard to do, right?
Trash is trash. Throw it away.
Yeah, just pick it up and put it in the garbage. But the other thing that the Inside Out 155 is great. But the other big news of the weekend was that Bad Boys held very well. 36 million second weekend. It only dropped 42%, which is that's not common for movies, right? Second, it even beat like 42% drop was less than the Bad Boys for Life drop of 45%. So it's, that's one of the big hits of the summer. Inside Out 2 is doing very well. So now maybe we start getting a little momentum. Everybody starts going back to the theaters. I do want to shout out, I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes this week. Holy fuck, was that a good movie. Like, these movies, some of these movies that are coming out and everybody's like, oh, there's nothing to go see. It's like, you go see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing with this new like trilogy, but they're some of the best movies made in our lifetime. Like the Planet of the Apes remakes, reboots, whatever you want to call them. The last 4 movies have been stellar, not just good, stellar, and all of the effects that go along with them, with people, people playing apes, and it started with Andy Serkis and it's moved on to other people now, and they look so realistic. They get so much out of it. It doesn't look like CGI. It doesn't like it looks, really great. And I think, that franchise doesn't get enough. That franchise popped back up to number 3 after 6 weeks in theaters, and it popped up to 3 over the 3-day weekend. Had a $5.2 million weekend. So the disparity is very large. It goes Inside Out 155, Bad Boys Ride or Die 33, Kingdom of Planet Apes 5.2, Garfield 78. Garfield 5 million.
4.7.
Yeah, well, it ended up 5. And then Watchers at 3.66. But If also jumped over 100 million this week domestic. So it's a good weekend to be a fan of movie theaters. It's a good weekend to be happy for movie theaters that we're moving along. I'm a huge Twister fan. I hope the new one, Twisters, isn't a huge disappointment, but I know it will be. But how bad? Okay, so what they've done with Twisters is interesting. They have attached it to Glenn Powell, who is super hot. I mean, mega hot. Like as an actor, he's in Maverick. He then, he does Anyone But You, which grosses $100 million. He's in Hitman, which is fantastic on Netflix. So he's good. He's really good. The problem with Twisters I think they're going to have is it's not a reboot quill. It's just it's a stand on its own kind of thing, and that's weird to me. Like that nobody's going to be related to Helen Hunt, or we're not going to get to hear anything about.
Fine though. I think
Is
that's
it?
fine though because because how many storm chasers are there in the world where you don't got to follow the same group every time? It's like a reality show where you're watching different storm chasers
every time though. Basically.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you, Kyle, and this
but do you really get too much of a cow flying past your car? I don't.
Well, no, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, it's going to be bigger, it's going to be louder, it's going to be whatever. Theoretically, it should be good. But what I'm saying to you is, if you tell me we're making a movie called Twister, my first question, it's like Ghostbusters Afterlife. My first question is, where does it tie into the original? Because the original does have its fans. The original, that summer it came out, was one of the biggest hits of the summer. You know what I mean? And then it became a big hit on DVD, and it became a big hit on Blu-ray. And it's a major release that did very well for Warner Brothers. Okay, to make a sequel or to make a movie that's just called Twisters, to put the S on it, right? Like it makes it sound like it's a sequel. And then to have no connection or ties, whatever, to the other movie is just, I think somebody's going to come out of it going, I thought she was going to be the daughter of Helen Hunt or something. Do you know what I mean?
Someone's always going to be disappointed. That's just obvious.
I think like, it's easy to make tendons. If your mom is Helen Hunt in the original Twisters, theoretically you could be as obsessed with Twisters as your mom. So why not just try to, like, instead of just making something that's just like a reboot or like a remake even. You know what I mean? Like, why do that? Like why?
Think about when the Real World started on MTV, where first you had the New York cast, then you had an LA cast, where it was the same title, but it was different each time. But it was still successful for the first couple of runs. And
sure,
I think
sure.
this could almost follow that plan.
Into the Storm, that's the one. That was like the Twister remake.
Into the Storm, yeah, it was like that was like Etsy Twister. That was like Etsy Twister. And then there was one the Hurricane, which is like a bank heist, like, so all of these things.
Like Armageddon and Deep.
It might have been Bill's and Joe's kids. Yes, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know. I just think we're gonna get there, and it's like they've kept it a secret that it does have DNA. But if it doesn't, like, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna go and watch it, and it's gonna have like cool things in it, and but it's just one of those things where it's like you gotta have DNA somewhere. Like, we're gonna go see in 2 weeks' time. We're gonna go see A Quiet Place Day One. There's got to be DNA from the first 2 Quiet Place movies in A Quiet Place Day One. There has to be.
Or that Twister could be like American Pickers. They have American Pickers, but there's also Australian Pickers, and there is a show called Australian Pickers.
But they're definitely
a Twister movie.
But even the trailers for Twisters is like, Powell's acting like loud, funny, You know what I mean? And the girls got, I think they even have, I think Dorothy is even in it briefly. There's, there's a briefly
Well,
a
I mean,
Dorothy.
Kansas. So I mean, I hope Auntie M and the Scarecrow are there too.
You know what I'm talking about because
Oh,
you
they
are.
all have
I know you've
metallic.
seen Twister. Don't be a jerk.
Oh, they
I
all have
just think
metallic.
it's. I don't know. I'm as excited about that movie as like Alien. Alien Romulus, which I think they're completely diverging from whatever, and they're giving a really good horror filmmaker a shot to make an alien movie, and Ridley Scott's producing, and they're changing the timeline, which is fine. Because basically, I was talking to somebody about it, and it's it's going to be taking place during the time frame between Alien and Aliens, the 57 years span where Ripley is drifting through space is when Romulus takes place. So there is a chance to start another timeline where we don't, you know what I mean? Like, and as long as Wayland Yutani, can I can I also ask you guys a question? So people fight with me sometimes because they like people know my
No,
politics and they fight with me, and they said I didn't know what I was talking about when that Alien is. I said somebody said I don't want to see the new Alien stuff because it looks woke, like a friend, and I was like, I'm like, you do know that Alien's been woke like since '79, right? Like it's like the franchise has been like working man versus giant corporation from day one, like from the first day of the movie opened. And he was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, they're just a bunch of guys that go out and mine stuff, and then they get taken off course to go to a beacon when they have no training to save anybody or anything. And then I don't know, the android lets it on the ship and then proceeds to let the crew kind of get killed.
They're expendable.
They're expendable. And it's like it could be construed that way. And like they were like, well, I just thought it was like a horror movie. I'm like, okay, but you're not paying attention to every 5 minutes. Yaphet Kotto is yelling, "I want a bonus. I want more money. I'm not getting paid for this." Like you don't remember any of that from the movie? None of it. Um, and part of what made the movie great was that the heroine is a female, and she's the best female heroine movies have ever created. She's the best, the absolute best. Like her, Sarah Connor, you know what I mean? Like Princess Leia, all in that. Like whatever order you want to go with whatever fancy you're tickled with. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about Twisters. What else? What else? Okay, so I saw this on Hulu this week, and if you're a fan of Brat Pack
I
movies,
started watching it.
it's an original documentary from Andrew McCarthy. Of course, one of the movies that they made was St. Elmo's Fire, one of the greatest soundtracks ever put out. Like it was platinum 3 times. Like there are 3 different songs from that movie, including the love theme, which is just instrumental that went top 20 radio playlist. And this is Andrew McCarthy now, and of course, Breakfast Club, one of the greatest movies ever made. And it's a really good documentary. I had no idea from when I started watching it. It's basically about there's an article from Rolling Stone at some point where they interviewed Emilio Estevez and they coined the term the Brat Pack. And I had no idea because I never viewed it as negative. But all of them subsequently have had feelings about the Brat Pack moniker forever. Like if he goes to meet various members of the Brat Pack. He runs into Emilio Estevez, Ali Sheedy. He does not get Molly Ringwald and Judd Nelson though, which is a little weird. Like it's like he's trying to get them the entire movie. Rob Lowe. He has a Demi Moore. All of them appear in the documentary, so it's really good to see them as their younger selves and then as their older selves. And then it just they all had a very bizarre reaction to the Brat Pack moniker. And did you ever view it as negative?
No. I viewed it always as an homage, like you're the next,
like a cool thing, right? Like the Rat Pack is cool, yeah.
Sinatra and
but they didn't. They didn't, and they've been harboring it for like 40 years. So like the documentary,
I wouldn't mind have been called that in high school, right?
Well, that's what I mean. Like but you know, for them, it was like you know, all these young stars were taking over Hollywood, and they felt under siege from the moniker. And I'm like, I've never viewed it that way because I always like I guess growing up watching Rat Pack movies, my dad, you know, like the Rat Pack was the coolest thing ever. And when when we got to like 84, 85, I had the Brat Pack. I had my actors that I really liked.
I don't know what
they had a real negative reaction. They all had a real negative reaction to it, especially Emilio Estevez. And he talks about there's a movie that he was going to make with Andrew McCarthy that he specifically didn't make with Andrew McCarthy. That was the best script. They felt it was the best script they had ever read together. And they specifically didn't make it because they didn't want it to be a Brat Pack movie. And it's an amazing, like, you know, Timothy.
Did anybody else make the movie? Is it a movie that's out there?
No, it never got made. Never got made. They said it was the best screenplay they had ever read. You know what I mean? Like, and I guess that's, you know, whatever. But Timothy Hutton's in it, and Timothy Hutton, they were like, you know, Leah Thompson's in it, like a bunch of people, and they have film critics and everything talking about the importance of the movies, you know, Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire, Pretty in Pink, you know, and like whether or not you're a Brat Pack or Brat Pack adjacent, you know, like John Cryer's Brat Pack adjacent because he wasn't part of the Brat Pack, but he was in Pretty in Pink. Leah Thompson's Brat Pack adjacent because she was in Back to the Future. Rob Lowe is full on Brat Pack. Like it's a real interesting, fun documentary, and it's good for us because as I get older, sometimes we hold on to things, we hold on to fights, we hold on to whatever, and part of the movie is about Andrew McCarthy just getting over all of the shit that he's put tied to the term Brat Pack. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it's not going to cure cancer or anything. It's not rocket science. But it's a pretty good little hour and a half of your time where you'll they'll play the St. Elmo's Fire theme. They'll play Don't You Forget About Me. You know what I mean? You can feel good in your heart and your chest. You feel nice. But that's really good on Hulu right now. Have you guys seen anything good? I know you were on the cruise, so you don't count. But
I did see Raiders of the Lost Ark on the cruise. They had it on the big screen in this big place they called the Atrium. And we were
for Father's Day. Was it for Father's Day? Was it for Father's Day?
It was before Father's Day.
Before Father's Day. That's a great. What? I'm sorry. What cruise line?
Norwegian.
I would ride Norwegian.
They did that. They played Ghostbusters. The new Ghostbusters, not the brand new one, but the one before that. And,
okay, so let's see.
And then, what else? I forget what else they played.
But that's a good, like, if I'm not gonna lie, if I'm walking by Raiders on a boat, I stop.
Big screen.
Yeah, if I walk by Raiders on a boat, I'm stopping. Let's see. Ken says, waiting for Emilio's Guns 3, Dead or Alive. That was another movie. The Young Guns came up as like, is that Brat Pack or is it not? Why is Molly Ringwald in the Brat Pack but not Anthony Michael Hall? Interesting. Well, no, I think he is in the Brat Pack. Anthony Michael Hall's in the Brat Pack.
Gotta be.
He's got to be. 16 Candles, Breakfast Club. Yeah, he's got to be there. Ken McCurran, watched The Fall Guy Sunday. Didn't care for it. I watched The Fall Guy as well. I really cared for it. But that was like last week. Is Kyle bald now?
No, that's just Jerry.
It's just the light. It's the way the light is hitting off his skull. Joe. Okay, so what else? Other news of the week. This is the big news
Well,
today.
I watched the first 3 episodes of The Boys, season 5 on
So
Amazon.
wait, actually, good call. I'm sorry, good call. I didn't mean to do it. Yep, there they are, the new super couple, or maybe. And then that crazy bit, like, whoo, crazier than a pet raccoon. And
Yeah, but I like the
it's
comparisons they're making though.
well, yeah, I think the boys was very popular season 3, and the boys is going to lose some people season 4.
Yeah,
Um, but like that being said, I think the most interesting stuff is more like the Sister Sage character is really interesting to me because she's like, we haven't had, like, the soups on the show have never been so smart, and she's legit, like, she tells them where to go, what to do, how to move, and it works all perfectly.
I'm more interested in the Deep and his secret girlfriend.
Yeah, yeah, I think her name is Ambrosia. Ambrosia the Octopus.
Ambrosia.
Do you know who the voice of Ambrosia the Octopus is?
Who is it?
Tilda Swinton. Tilda Swinton is the voice of the octopus right now. But yeah, I mean, that
My
premiered.
wife popped hard because Negan from The Walking Dead popped in to The
Yes,
Boys in the beginning of that
yes,
season too.
he's playing a somebody that knows Billy pretty well, and I think that Billy thing is going to be big. Like, first off, I love him. I love Carl Urban. So, you're not really into a boys season until he says the word cunt, and then once he says it, you're like, oh, it's so nice to be home. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I mean, that
Willie Mays
premiered.
dead at 93. Ken McKern just announced.
Yeah, Willie Mays died today. Yeah, rest in peace to the Say Hey Kid. 93. That's a life, and to live a life where catches are called Willie Mays style in your sport is nice. Let's see. My point is Anthony Michael Hall wasn't mentioned at all in the documentary. Oh, that's true. I don't know. I think Anthony Michael Hall might have escaped. Like, I don't know that. Maybe it's because he's not one of the cool ones in the Breakfast Club. He's left on the.
What else was he in with them besides that Breakfast Club?
16 Candles are the two.
That's two. I wonder if there was a minimum that you had to be in the pack.
Well, and I don't know that Joe. I think the other thing the documentary kind of goes is that part of it is that they were young Hollywood, so it was like Rob Lowe, Andrew McCarthy. Spader isn't mentioned either, which is interesting because he's the bad guy in Pretty in Pink. But like McCarthy, Estevez,
kind of wonderful.
Yes, McCarthy, Estevez, Rob Lowe. I think maybe, Joe, the reason he's not mentioned is because he wasn't like a leading man type. Would be my guess. Is that he never broke out, like, he wasn't somebody that was like gonna be a star of his own movie. McCarthy does Pretty in Pink, and then he does Class with Rob Lowe, and then you know what I mean. Like, so maybe that's what it is. John Cryer, part of them. No, he is considered Brat Pack adjacent. I would also say Anthony Michael Hall's probably Brat Pack adjacent, even though he's in the ultimate Brat Pack movie, which is The Breakfast Club. Cryer dated Demi. Yeah. Well,
Hiding Out. That was a good movie.
Hiding Out's a great movie. Hiding Out is a fantastic.
What's his name? Maxwell Hauser.
Maxwell Hauser. Hiding Out's a great movie. Hiding Out's fantastic. A young Annabeth Gish is in Hiding Out. Annabeth Gish. I know people fawn over Julia Roberts, but if you ask me, Annabeth Gish in Hiding Out and Mystic Pizza were way better than Julia Roberts. Anyway, that's just a personal preference. So Willie Mays dying is big news. This came out today from Variety. Mike Flanagan, who is, director of Doctor Sleep, Fall, the House of Usher, he's taking over the reins on the next Exorcist movie. It's untitled. It's Exorcist, whatever it's going to be, and then March 13, 2026. But Flanagan coming back is a big deal because, Flanagan, like you look at Flanagan, he's made Oculus, Hush, Ouija, Origin of Evil. You know what I mean? Like and all the stuff he's done for Netflix. He, Midnight Mass and A Fall, the House of Usher, and like he's one of our best horror directors. And for Blumhouse to go out and get him, realizing The Exorcist Believer, wasn't up to snuff, right? Not the level that because they paid so much money for that The Exorcist brand, and to make a movie that's meh. You need to bring in heavy guns, and Flanagan's one of my favorite directors. He's made Oculus. If you have never seen Oculus, or the Hush movie where it's a deaf girl dealing with somebody trying to break into her house wearing a white mask, really great stuff. But even though Believer only grossed $137 million worldwide. Ugh. That's not great. So we'll see how it plays out. I think it's a good pairing. And that's good news. That's
the article you sent me before that one, though.
Well, that's what we're gonna get to now. The cool article. So Mel Brooks is old. And whenever we get stuff where maybe Mel Brooks might be involved, you know what I mean? Yes. So if we're talking the history of the world stuff they tried to do on Hulu, fine. It was funny. You know what I mean? Like it was in the same vein. But they announced today Spaceballs 2 is in the works. I mean, we won't get any Bartholomew. We won't get Bartholomew. He's my favorite character in Spaceballs.
Oh.
And no John Candy means
we're not going to get John Candy, but that doesn't mean we're not going to get Bartholomew.
Oh, I don't think anybody. No, I don't think a fucking soul.
Bartholomew from Wish.
I don't think. I don't think anybody goes near that. I think if you make a Spaceballs movie, you have to keep it like you can bring people back. You can bring Dot back. You can have somebody doing Dot got a voice change or whatever. But you can't just throw anybody into the barf costume.
It's like casting Jackie Earle Haley as Freddy or something.
Yeah, it's like bad ideas. It's like a bad idea is what it is, Jerry. But let's read a little bit. Spaceballs sequel is in development at Amazon MGM Studios. Josh Gad is set to star. I like Gad. He's funny. Josh Greenbaum will direct
in the development. What scares me.
What's up?
The key words in development is what scares me about him. Because we've heard about working scripts and possibly and the search for the Schwartz sequel and everything else.
No, the sequel that was always rumored was Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money. Was what it was always. I always heard it as Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money, but
so Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Schwartz.
Josh Greenbaum will direct the film screenplay by Benji Sammet, Dan Hernandez, and Gad, while Kevin Salter will executive produce. Project is in early stages and details are being kept under wraps. The writing duo of Sammet and Hernandez are best known for their work on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and Addams Family 2, and the upcoming Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy special that's coming out. That's not a bad list of films. Like they're pretty good. Like Mutant Mayhem's really good. Detective Pikachu is surprisingly good, and Addams Family 2 isn't as bad as you think it is. So original 1987.
What a glowing review that was.
Well, Addams Family 2, like the Addams Family animated movies, I just don't like. They don't respond to them. They're not like I want live action Addams Family. But is there a world where Spaceballs 2 is important? I throw it out to you. But
is there a world where
well, is there a world like this is a sequel?
Possibly our last Mel Brooks movie, so I mean, of course it's important.
Well, no, but I mean, but Mel Brooks comedy is very like, I mean, there are giant YouTube channels devoted to people watching Blazing Saddles for the first time. You know what I mean? Like, although Spaceballs wasn't super edgy. You know what I mean? Like Spaceballs was just, I mean, it had a couple of jokes. We ain't found shit.
Nothing yet, sir. I love that.
We ain't found shit.
We ain't found shit.
Also, that they're using the hair pick instead of the working the desert.
I remember that, and she gets a great helmet.
But this, Brooks revisiting classic comedy in recent years. 2023, he wrote and produced History of the World Part 2. Brooks, one of the few entertainers to boast prestigious EGOT status, directed and starred films. Listen to this: Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Robin Hood Men in Tights, Silent Movie. He was also honored with the Career Achievement Award at the 84th Annual Peabody Awards earlier this month. He's one of our national treasures. Mel Brooks is. I enjoy Mel Brooks movies immensely. I mean, History of the World is so funny.
That's probably my favorite.
I think Young Frankenstein's my favorite just because I like horror movies.
That's close.
Young Frankenstein, like Frau Blucher. Yeah. Also, Peter Boyle and Gene Hackman are pretty hilarious. Actually, Gene Wilder, all the times he worked with Mel Brooks, producers, you got to, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many. Let's see. Spaceballs 2 has a ton of new material to work off of. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely work off new trilogies or work off the idea of rebootquels or whatever. They can't do it without Rick Moranis. They probably can. Because, I mean, Rick Moranis didn't even come back for Ghostbusters.
I'd like to see a Darth Maul ripoff instead of a Darth Vader one.
Well, like Darth, yeah, but Darth, I don't know how you do it. I mean, maybe you could do it, but they
can go pretty
have like a two-headed menorah or something.
Well, I mean, like the raciest. The raciest joke in Spaceballs is, when Mega Maid, she's gone from suck to blow.
Suck. Oh shit!
My favorite joke is raspberry. Only Lone Star would try to jam it with raspberry. Funny movies. So I mean that's great. That's a great story for the day. Like that's cool. We got a cool movie. Maybe we'll get a second one. It's always exciting when you look up and you try to figure out. It's not just getting them though. They have to have the right. They have to be good. You know what I mean? Like, I
could do a whole Mandalorian ripoff too.
Oh my god, they could do so much actually. I just think I don't want them to screw it up. I thought History of the World Part 2 was pretty funny though, so I thought they did a good job. Let's see what else. Movies, things I've seen or watched. I got If today. If is out today, so you can watch it at home today. I haven't been able to get the kids to the theater, so we're gonna definitely watch If. Another death that we need to talk about: Anthea Silbert, who was the costume designer on Chinatown, Rosemary's Baby, and Shampoo, dies at 84. But look at that! Listen to the list of films she made, where she basically put whatever people were wearing. Rosemary's Baby, Carnal Knowledge, Chinatown, Shampoo, Julia, King Kong. And basically she became a private, kind of like the private dresser for Goldie Hawn later in her career. But like, just look at Chinatown. We watched Chinatown a couple weeks ago on Generation Movie. That movie is practically perfect in every way, including the costume. So, rest in peace for her. What else? Is there anything you guys want to talk about before we get going? Anything else before we do some of our regular things? News? No, nothing. Okay, I'm okay with this.
You said there was something big with Deadpool and Wolverine that we're going to get to later. That you.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. You know what? I'm sorry. Look. Jesus Christ! Don't be so mean.
I don't have the biggest man crush on Ryan Reynolds like some previous hosts here, but I still got a little wood for Ryan Reynolds. Not going to lie.
Well,
I got a Hugh Jackman. Let me tell you.
Well,
waiting.
Two of the interesting things. Everybody thought that Taylor Swift was going to be Lady Deadpool. That was one of the rumors. That Lady Deadpool was going to be Taylor Swift. But the new Lady Deadpool rumor is that it's going to be Blake Lively, which would be pretty spectacular. If Lady Deadpool is Blake Lively, I think the internet will break. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about really quick. It's one of the weirdest but also coolest stories. So they do tracking. They do long range box office tracking. It's a firm. It goes in. They get numbers and results. Okay, and usually about 6-7 weeks out they do it. And Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine has broken the company, because basically they're reporting it's on track to earn domestically in its opening weekend $200 million, and that's being conservative. According to the pre-release tracker, The Quorum, Deadpool and Wolverine is projected to earn between $200 million and $239 million in its opening weekend at the domestic box office. An estimate that The Quorum thinks is conservative. This means the tracking system believes a superhero movie could open higher than 239. As it stands, 239 will be enough to land Deadpool and Wolverine in the top 5 best opening weekends ever domestically. What are the top 5? Can you give me the top 5?
Avengers Endgame.
That's 1, 357. $357 million in 3 days. That's 1.
Titanic in there?
One of the Spider-Mans?
Spider-Man No Way Home is 2, 260.
You're talking superhero movies.
They're recent. It's more recent. So yeah. No Way Home 260 is 2. What's 3?
Civil War. No.
Infinity War. Good. You're fine.
Infinity.
And then 4 and 5 are Force Awakens at 247 and The Last Jedi at 220. But where it gets interesting.
Good guess though. That part too I didn't think of, Ken. You're right.
Where it gets interesting. I'm sorry, what Ken write? Avatar 2? No.
Oh, he guessed Avatar 2.
Yeah, that's a good guess, but no.
It is a good guess though.
It is. It's a great guess, but
sports, whatever.
Avatar movies usually open in Christmas, and because of their length, they don't make as much. They make a lot of money over a longer period. Movie news: they're trying to back 3D movies Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine on the way. Yeah, they're trying to make it happen. It's not. I don't think it's working. I think people take the 3D.
I'd love to see the out clips though from Deadpool Wolverine in 3D, like where Deadpool's like Look at this on the end of my sword, and holding it out. And Wolverine like going claws right out into the audience.
Here's where the projections get interesting. Okay, so right now Marvel's kind of low end. We're working. They're dealing with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, the Marvels, right? And then Guardians of the Galaxy was fine. That did fine. $200 million would break the record for the best R-rated opening by Deadpool in 2016, and that record is 132.4. So they're projecting that this one is going to break the R-rated movie record opening box office weekend. If it's at 239, it would break the record by $107 million. It's breaking things. It's
going to double.
Yeah, it's going to. Well,
everybody likes a dirty superhero.
Everybody likes a dirty superhero. But I think
in the ballpark at 260.
I'm realistic. Like, I realize here's where it gets also interesting. In the article, they talk about the quorum when they talk to people. There are people who are saying they're going to see the movie who don't know it's R-rated.
Come on, kids.
That's exactly right. So that's another weird thing.
Superhero movie. What could go wrong?
But that's where it's an interesting kind of thing. There are people that are part of
the
yes, and that's.
I wonder if Zac Efron will make an appearance.
That's why it's fun. But that's the idea that it's $107 million higher than any R-rated opening since 2016
might be just as much fun as the year that Glee did Rocky Horror, and that Halloween we had all these tweeners coming to the show with their parents because John Stamos was part of a Rocky Horror cast. Oh, that was a blast! Let me tell you.
What happened?
I'm sure it was. But yeah, that's the big news coming out. It's hit the tracking, and the tracking is astounding. So we come to my favorite segments of the week. First one we do. It came from Jerry's basement. This is of course where Jerry Kamora, good friend of the show and amazing co-host, takes a movie from his
security if it comes out of the basement. I don't know how he lets this shit escape each week.
I don't know how it gets out. It just gets out. It's magic. He wasn't paying attention because he was on a cruise. We did do FX last week for you. We did do FX for you last week.
I know.
What a great movie. But what I would say tonight's movie, I gotta say, is one of my favorite weird low budget. I'm going to tell you right now, I have a double feature movie for it that's perfect, and we'll talk about it in a moment. But what is the movie you picked to come out of your basement this week, Jerry? Available on Tubi, by the way.
Tonight's movie is Dead Heat.
Dead Heat. Treat Williams, Joe Piscopo. It is a 1988 film. So so give us the premise, Jerry, of this Treat Williams, Joe Piscopo movie. As I put some pictures up.
Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo, they're two officers. They come across criminals who they get in a gunfight with. The guys won't go down. It's almost like they're unstoppable. So their further investigation takes them to this company that basically is reincarnating people, but it's deforming them and turning them into unstoppable creatures, zombies, you name it.
Like
so
ghouls.
Treat Williams
they're almost like ghouls.
Right. Treat Williams ends up succumbing to this and dies, and they have this idea to put him in the reincarnation machine, and now he becomes one of them, but he's still a police officer.
And then it also has this guy. It also has this guy.
Yes.
It has this guy
ridiculous.
Here. It gets ridiculous.
The special effects are good.
really good special effects. It is not. It was not a popular movie. It's a New World Pictures movie. It only grossed 3 million in its stay. But what I will say to you is, it's a fun movie, and it's one of those things that is something they're talking about trying to make a new one, like, which is just kind of crazy. They're like, it's such a weird movie to want to make a sequel to or make a reboot to, but it's got fans. You can't keep a good
It makes
cop
sense though
dead.
because it is a fun movie,
It's a
even though
fun
it's
movie
not
and it's original.
widely known.
And I would say that the double feature I would give you, if you do Dead Heat and Dead and Buried,
Dead and Buried is great.
Dead and Buried is a fantastic. It's really good because of the twist. The twist is amazing. The twist is M. Night Shyamalan before M. Night Shyamalan. That's how good the twist is. But Dead and Buried and Dead Heat, basically dead cop movies. But Dead Heat is a lot of fun. Piscopo's in Rare. He's in. It was right around the time he's jacked. So it was right around the time he was trying to get off of start his own career, launch it, and it's just this quirky, weird film from the '80s. That's it's directed by Mark Goldblatt, written by Terry Black. Though there's a little bit of fighting about who actually wrote it, but it's basically it's two cops who are best friends, and they Treat Williams starts decomposing. It's got good effects. It's a lot of fun. It's a really good movie. And it's available on Tubi. All of the movies that you pick are available on Tubi. So if you want to catch them, you can. And like I said, like some of these movies, they're directly 80s and they're amazingly, they're fun. They're just fun 80s movies. You know what I mean? Where you just go, you kind of just like, I can't believe somebody thought about this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and Treat Williams, every once in a while in the movie, he gives a look like, I don't know how I got here. You know what I mean? Because Treat Williams is like, he was in early 80s, he was one of the leading dramatic actors, Prince of the City, and all these movies. And then by the end of the 80s, he's kind of like, he's into genre movies. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I wish we could have gotten something.
But hey, if they do a second one, it'll bring it back to life.
Possibly. Well, that well, and I think this one is one of those movies that's ripe for it, right? It's one of those movies that's when some people say, "Oh, we should remake movies that are bad." It's not bad. It's got a good premise, and if you see it, you immediately remember it, right? So I think
would be another good feature to throw in with this.
Reanimator is a great one. You know what I mean? It is something we definitely talk about. Where you watch a movie and you go, you just don't understand how things, how movies get made like it, and they haven't gotten made since.
Nope.
One second, I'm working on something.
Well, he's doing that this week. I didn't get a chance to go to a flea market, but usual commentator on the show here, or in the comments, Raven actually got me the Universal Monsters Tarot card deck.
That's cool.
So, because she knows how much,
That's
I got a lot of Frankenstein stuff, including pops and stuffed animals and different animals. So, thought that was really cool. I wanted to show everyone. I'll be stealing that next time over your house. Don't watch my pockets. But
what'd you show?
He's got a.
It's a Frankenstein.
Ooh, it's like a Migo. Ooh, I like Migos. Oh, look at him. He's so happy.
There you go, Jerry.
That's cool. Right on.
What is it, like Build-A-Bear?
Complete with Yeah, complete with the tails coat. Little buttons there.
And some people say you're a weirdo. I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree. So let's
Who
see.
says that?
Deadpool, my guess, 180 opening weekend. Ken, that is too low. That is way too low for Deadpool. He originally says
He's 180.
nice.
60.
So
I tried to buy you enough time there.
I know you did. You did. We'll do it. We'll do it at the end though. So, you did buy me enough time. You did fine. That was a good thing. I appreciate you. You know, I'm constantly doing stuff on the show. Twilight Zone Redux. You've crossed over into the Twilight Zone Redux. One of my favorite parts of the week, every week. Last week we of course had the Fever Jerry. Kyle, goddamn it, put your picture up. Son of a bitch. Twilight Zone Redux. So tonight we're doing an episode called The Last Flight. It is the 18th episode of the first season of the Twilight Zone. And opening narration goes something like this. Witness Flight Lieutenant William Terrence Decker, Royal Flying Corps, returning from a patrol somewhere over France. The year is 1917. The problem is the lieutenant is hopelessly lost. Lieutenant Decker will soon discover that a man cannot be lost only in terms of maps and miles, but also in time. And time, in this case, can be measured in eternities.
You know what? I really didn't expect what happened in this because I thought, well, he got there too soon, like, right?
Well, and so the way the episode works is he lands at an Air Force base in France in 1959
on a U.S. Air Force,
a U.S. Air Force
in
base.
France.
And basically, he's taken into custody immediately. They think he's some sort of weirdo that's flying like
He's got one of those Red Baron planes.
Yeah, he's got a.
I don't know what you call them.
It's a 1917
World War I plane.
Yeah, it's a World War I plane. So they think he's part of some sort of show or whatever. And he keeps as he keeps progressing through the episode, he keeps on telling them, "No, I'm real. Like I what year is it?" And then they basically say that one of the guys that's coming to visit is a British soldier, and it's a soldier that he knows. It's a flyer he knows, right? Alexander Mackay, an Air Vice Marshal,
right,
who was not only a hero in World War I, but was a hero in World War II, who saved hundreds of thousands of people.
Right.
And what you find out later in the episode is that this particular airman, Decker, left him in 1917 surrounded by German airplanes.
He can't be him.
It can't be him. He has to be dead. Because when I cowered out, and that's the episode, it's this episode, Jerry, is twofold with regards to how great it is towards the end. The first part of it is he's not he's a flyer, but it starts peeling away layers from him, and he's actually a coward. He talks about how he shoots holes in his own plane, so when he comes back, he can make fun with the guys, and he travels for a certain amount, and he doesn't really do anything. He stays out of the way.
Is you don't realize you're trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out, why does he not want to see this guy?
Well, and that's the thing. He knows, yeah. And finally, it gets to the boiling point where he tells the American, "I have to go. I have to go." And it becomes this thing where you don't know why he has to go, but he basically says the reason I don't expect him to be coming is because he should be dead, right? Yep. And so I want to highlight a couple of things. This person here, if you see this name on anything,
yep.
If it's something that something's based on, if it's the Running Man or the Omega Man or anything with this name, Richard Matheson, this man is a genius. He is one of the greatest science fiction horror writers of all time.
Joe asked if he's a coward like the pilot in the new Godzilla flick.
Yes, that's what I was getting to. He is very much. It's very much. we talk about how Twilight Zone influences things. And yes, he very much is like the pilot in Godzilla minus one. And so, like, even 60 years back, we're still, or 60 years back, we're influencing things. So yes, he's a coward. He has left this person that will become a hero mid-flight, surrounded by 7 German airplanes, and he starts telling his story. And then he starts, like, when they start going over the guy's incidentals, like, he flew in all these missions in World War One, survived all of them, became a general, and then flew in more missions in World War Two. Was intrinsic in stopping the raids on England in World War Two. Decker gets incensed. He gets livid. He, beats up the Americans. He runs out, gets into his plane. He's like, I gotta go. And they don't understand why. And to be honest, as a viewer, you're like, okay. And he goes and he flies into the exact same cloud. And then the end of the episode is the Americans meeting the gentleman, and they ask him, like, what happened? Like, did you know this person? What happened? Did you ever get his effects? And he's like, it's
he came out of the clouds shooting.
He came out of the clouds and saved me.
Yeah.
And saved me. So it's a time travel story with a full circuit circular effect.
And then
Terry goes into the clouds, comes to 1959, realizes the mistake, goes back into the clouds, and saves the person that becomes the air marshal that has saved hundreds of thousands of lives.
It was pretty cool when he said he died, and he said, "Oh, the Germans usually send back their belongings," and he said, "We never got it." And the guy,
we never got it.
Drawer.
And they pull it out of the drawer, and he's like, "Where'd you get this?" And he was like, it is one of the greatest low-key, it's a great time travel story. It is a perfect time travel story if you're trying to learn how time travel should work on screen. And like I said, when we talk about these episodes, these are perfectly encapsulated movies in 23 minutes. And this one is spectacular. The closing narration. Dialogue from a play, Hamlet to Horatio. There are more things in heaven and earth than there are dreamt of in your philosophy. Dialogue from a play written long before men took to the sky. There are more things in heaven and earth and in the sky than perhaps can be dreamt of. And somewhere in between heaven, the sky, and the earth lies the Twilight Zone. It is such a great episode. It is a fantastic episode. Everybody in it is really good. Kenneth Hay plays Lieutenant Decker. And it is just one of those episodes where it's low-key genius. Like, it's, Richard Matheson writing it. Whenever you see that in front of an episode of the Twilight Zone, I don't know about you, Jerry, but I'm like, oh, it's going to be a good one.
Yep. Well,
something's going to happen.
The narration even sets you up, and you don't even realize it,
Yeah, it sets it up perfectly. He has his little outfit. They think he's part of some sort of troop. There he is as a bomber going through this cloud in space and time that takes him, 40 years into the future. This is when he arrives at the base, like, what the fuck you doing? Get out of the
that was him plane. Getting ready to split.
Oh yeah. That is him getting ready to leave. No, that's when he first lands.
Trying to take off, I think there.
That's when he first lands. The person who pulls the gun on him at the end is one of the maintenance guys, because he doesn't have his hat when he leaves. Everything stays, but it's just a really great episode, and it also is like the idea, like it's the butterfly effect too, like the idea that this guy going through one time tunnel could have changed the course of hundreds or thousands of lives. It's amazing.
But really, the story is about him coming to grips with being a coward and
being a coward.
That's
and realizing that not giving your all isn't the right thing to do, and then realizing that this person who is a hero the idea that's the other idea, right? That heroes sometimes need saving too, right? It's 23 minutes, and they're really like Jerry. I'm amazed every week, but like when you get an episode like this where it's like, it doesn't have a lot of people. It's not necessarily an episode you've heard or seen about before, right? And it's just everything is perfectly slotted and circuit, and like the time travel thing, the way Matheson writes the time travel is into the cloud 59, up from 59 into the cloud back to 1917. It's and there to save him. He came out of the cloud and saved me. And then what happened to him? Oh, he got shot down. He was killed by three other. After he took out 3 Germans, he was killed. And then I took out the other 4. Like
Yep.
it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I can't talk about it. Okay, but that's next week. We go we more interesting stuff within the army or war setting. It's called the Purple Testament. It's the 19th episode of the Twilight Zone.
That's a decent
and
one.
It's the story of a man who can forecast death. Originally aired February 12th, 1960. So that'll be next week. The Purple Testament. If you want to get ahead, by all means, jump ahead. But this episode, please do not skip this episode because it's well written. It will remind you very much of Godzilla -1. Like, same themes, just, not Survivor syndrome, but legit, I didn't do what I was supposed to do syndrome. So, okay. Well, we're over an hour. It's good to have everybody back. What do you boys got going on? Jerry, I'm sure you got a show or something coming up.
July 13th, V-Spot. Scranton. Yeah.
Excellent. Kyle, how are you doing? What are you doing with your plans for the summer? What are you working on? Any big plans coming up with the wife? No. We are
Nothing.
We are in full summer mode with a 6 and an 8-year-old in the house. Wow. You don't realize how much you miss school. Not having school for them. I want to go swimming. I want to do this. I want
to. Yep.
Yeah. It's. But I. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember. I guess I remember summer the right way, but I also like. They're just like up at 8. They drop by 8.
Kids. I got the teens. My kids are sleeping till like 4 o'clock almost now because Alaska's 4 hours behind us. They're playing catch up. Well, we have to work.
We did Pulp Fiction. We did Pulp Fiction last night on Generation Movies. So, Baby Tomato's lagging behind. Papa Tomato goes back. Catch up. But yeah. Speaking of that, you can find me, JW the Movie Guy, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, and IMDb. We're on there as well. We have a little show we call Generation Movie. A little show called Generation Movie. We do on Monday nights. And this week, we are getting ready for Beverly Hills Cop Axel F dropping on Netflix on July 3rd. And the movie we're doing this week is Beverly Hills Cop, the original, celebrating its 40th anniversary
40 years
this year. 40 years of Beverly Hills Cop. We were talking about it last night. This is the quintessential birth of a superstar movie, right? This is the movie. He was popular and amazing, and he had moments in 48 Hours. But when we get to Beverly Hills Cop, he is a full-fledged megastar. Like, the wattage is just there, and he's still popular to this day. He still can open a movie, still can make movies that people want to see, and so Axel F coming out on July 3rd on Netflix. Fingers decidedly crossed that it's good, but also a little sad. Can I? We were talking about last night. A little sad. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F should be
old. That's how old we are.
But Beverly Hills Cop should be in theaters. Axel F should be in theaters. The idea that it's going to stream on Netflix and we're all going to watch it and, you know, laugh or whatever our reactions are to it. You know, we'll be talking about it on the show, you know, after it premieres. But the reactions will only be us, as opposed to Beverly Hills Cop. When you were in a theater in 1984, it was infectious. It was funny. The action's good. It is the first time that action and comedy get really fused together. And without Beverly Hills Cop, you don't have Lethal Weapon, you don't have Die Hard, you don't have all of these other movies that stem away from Beverly Hills Cop. So we'll be doing that next Monday, the 24th, on Loud and Nerdy, or on Generation Movie, I should say. And then next week, Loud and Nerdy returns Tuesday at 9 p.m. If you like our shows, and it takes very little time to do this, but go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel. All of our shows are there. Please subscribe. It takes less than 3 seconds to click and make us happy. If you don't want to subscribe to YouTube, you say, hey, I want to do Facebook. I'm an old person. In the Escape Network on Facebook, we have our own page. Also, if you want to join the Loud Nerdy, the group page, please do that if you're so inclined. We want everybody happy and doing well. And we will see everybody next week. Thanks for joining us tonight. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. Glad you're back, Jerry. I'm glad you're back, Kyle.
I'm going to go do a double feature, Eddie Murphy, Raw, and Dr. Doolittle.
That's an interesting. I'm gonna go watch the Acolyte tonight, or is that tomorrow morning? I don't know. Whatever. I have a couple things I have to catch up on. And we bought If for the kids, so I might watch it beforehand just to make sure. I was already tearing up, to be honest. Have a great night. We'll see everybody next week. Oh, before we go. Sorry, Kyle. Before we go, I was just
scrolling. I found it, so figure why not throw it up there?
Well, no, this movie's opening this Friday. This movie looks fantastic. But if you're in the Scranton area, Pennsylvania Bikers for Justice and Regal are doing the premiere of the Bike Riders. Commerce Boulevard, Dixon City. Good theater, solid theater, has IMAX, has everything you need. Good people work there. People I used to work with and people Kyle knows, and you know. So by all means, support this theater, support the Pennsylvania Bikers for Justice. And this movie looks phenomenal. You know, Jodie Comer, who's got the lead, by the way, Austin Butler, and Tom Hardy. It should be a good movie to go see this week. And then
Easy Rider?
No, it's a movie that's based on a book of pictures that came out in the 70s. It was a book about just all pictures, and they built a movie around the pictures. So there was no story in the book. It was just really cool, like life photos of bike riders, and they built this movie with, and also like Jodie Comer is of course from Killing Eve, and you know Austin Butler of course, coming out of playing Elvis, and Tom Hardy, who's just amazing, and you know got this big premiere at Regal on 21st at 5 to 7, so there should be a lot of bikers going to see Bike Riders. Right. You know, it should be a lot of fun, and the movie looks like it's going to be great, and so we always want to help people out. Thanks for joining us tonight. Stay safe. We'll see everybody next week. Bye.